Hello, everybody. I'll give it a few minutes for people to log on. I have a major post to make. I'm starting to really get upset with Rebel News. I'm very disappointed in both Ezra and some of his reporters. Specifically, Penhold is a base I actually did some pretty big training exercises in back in the day. I went airborne. I did the Air Cadets, and I went all the way through that. A couple of my major training courses were done right in Penhold over a couple months at a time. I know the base very well. I know its status right now. It was one of my tour destinations. And specifically, I'm going to give you all this story. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. Absolutely 100% factual. You can find all this. I used my Twitter just over the last 40 minutes here since I did my last video that I registered with China as one of the UNSC. I reached out, so I've compromised myself somewhat in that world, and I went and I got the data right off the Chinese government site. So a lot of it, you're taking my word, but you can look. There are publications, I'm sure, right here in Canada. You can look at the dates. I already have, to prove this, I have the corporate registry right here in Alberta, and I have the absolute dates of that. So what I can prove is this. China cargo out of Beijing Communist Party has been registered here because of and since Stephen Harper. Before Justin Trudeau was initially elected in 2015, Mayor Iveson right here in Edmonton, along with Stephen Harper, allowed the registration through the FIPA agreement of Air China Cargo, which not only do they have our YEG, for you, those of you who don't understand this, that's our Edmonton International Airport, they also have the exact same property in Penhold. I know this, I can prove this because, like I said, I did airborne many years ago. I did all the courses for that, the survival training in Cold Lake, 2 courses at Penhold. We used to have our own military services here right at the YEG. The marijuana companies, yes, post-Trudeau, after Harper, all of that got all of that government property that goes right into Penhold as well too. But Stephen Harper's deal under FIPA, China-Canada deal, back in September, was still the Prime Minister of Canada. He had signed officially on board in 2014, and they established with Mayor Iveson and the Government of Canada the properties lost from the Edmonton International Airport and the properties in the Penhold base right there in mid-Alberta went to Communist China. They took those properties, they leased those properties under FIPA. It's been in place since Stephen Harper. Has absolutely nothing to do with Justin Trudeau. Everything to do with Stephen Harper and Mayor of Edmonton at the time and currently, Iveson, Don Iveson. That was the deal. Our Canadian Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, September 3rd, signed that away. Communist Party China registered Air Beijing Cargo right here in Alberta in 2015, September 3rd. I went on the website. I already have the president of the company's name, but yes, it will all ultimately be registered to the Communist Party. Are they training commercial pilots in Penhold? Yes, they have been. They've been doing it for a number of years. Yes, they're all Communist Party. And yes, they're in our Penhold base. And yes, they're on the YEG property of the international airport. I would like to release the name of the company that's a military contractor that held those, but I got a family member who has ties to that company, and I can't. I just can't, and I won't, unfortunately. But this is absolutely 100% truthful. A lot of this you can get verification in news media releases, and you can look at when Stephen Harper lost power when Justin Trudeau came in, but Air China out of Beijing, Communist Party, registered during the Harper era of government, finalized in 14, officially registered while he was Prime Minister, and they set up in the YAG and in Penhold, and they continue to train pilots from the Communist Party. I don't like it either, but this has been going on since 2012, since we signed FIPA. Again, for all those of you who don't know, that is Foreign Investment and Protections Agreement between Canada and Communist China by none other than Stephen Harper. Now, Trudeau could scrap the bill. I think they're going to have to look at that as relations deteriorate with China. It's up to him, I guess. But the Conservatives brought all this in. They did radical changes specifically to Alberta, Canada, and it's an absolute Conservative agenda of the Conservative Harper government, and I likely do not believe Aaron O'Toole is going to upset any of that. He is an absolute liar. He's going with Kanzik, as you all just watched in my live video just an hour ago. And now here it's getting shared out by Rebel News, a narrative that they're putting on Justin Trudeau, when clearly this was a deal established by Stephen Harper. It's definitely a power of the federal government, administered, signed, and implemented by Stephen Harper. And yes, Mayor Don Iveson, because Alberta government allowed that to come in, because the federal government used its constitutional power. And yes, Mayor Iveson, it's no secret, he's obviously a communist too, totally embraced it and changed out that military contractor, I can't say, but they got rid of them. They're historic. All I can say is just look at the Herculeses. I know I did a bunch of training in them. I've been in many Herculeses in my youth, and right out of YAG and right out of Penhold. So that's the reality. That contractor removed, Communist China put in place. And all those contract properties, both in military and both in our international airport. And when you say international airport, absolute authority of federal government, mandated constitutionally by the laws implemented, the agreement implemented by Stephen Harper, giving his buddy, Mayor Iveson, full authority to go ahead and take that as a division of power. That's the truth. Thanks, everybody. Share the video. Rebel, please start doing some digging, because you're rapidly becoming fake news media. Tell the truth here, what's going on, where it goes, where it comes from, and who's responsible. I don't like Justin Trudeau either. I hate the Liberals. Federally, provincially, Alberta Party, all of it. I've interviewed so many of them. I know their agendas. I know their crazy, radical proposals. I don't like it either, but we can't keep blaming Liberals for things embraced by our Conservative governments here, doing the exact same thing. A real media company tells the entire story as it truly is, not as we're supposed to propagate it to be, because you want to see your political party get elected. Now, if we're going to run these stories and you're going to lie to all of my Albertans, Canadians at large, blame Trudeau because I hate him too, but we're going to do that. Where's going to be the accountability for Aaron O'Toole and CPC going forward? Because I don't see any. I don't. Not with Kanzik and the bullshit they're bringing forward. All the betting that the Conservatives absolutely did with Communist China, legalizing their controls and holds over all our provinces in a lot of our municipalities for 31 years. Now, yes, a Prime Minister can break that agreement entirely and cause us untold damage with Chinese relations. Maybe that's something we have to look at, but it's not fair to say that Justin Trudeau's responsible for this when clearly The Conservative Party of Canada is absolutely 100% responsible for everything that's happened in Alberta, literally across Canada. And there is more in the east with Communist China. There's way much more in Vancouver. But that's been a reality for a very long time, over a decade. And it was ratified and finalized by none other than Stephen Harper for the umpteenth time in 2012. And even more radical stuff amended in 2014. The publications are all there. We can't blame Justin Trudeau. It is absolutely CPC. And like I said, they're rolling out Kanzik, which gives even more direct ties with China. Way more. It sounds like the Liberals want to do it, but I promise you, Aaron O'Toole has this championed on his website. He is absolutely 110% in bed with it. That's the truth. You don't have a good federal party, Canadians, Albertans. Zero. They are all dirty, filthy, and corrupt. And our media, apparently, left or right, most of them are absolute liars, championing one side or the other with the same damn agendas. Hold these people to account. Get out on Rebel Media and say, why are you not telling the entire story? How come there's all these publications that clearly show this has been in Alberta for more than 5 years and was absolutely administered, sold out, and put on through by Stephen Harper? Truth. Look at the military contractor. I can't say. I wish I could, but I can't. But look what they lost. They're out of Alberta. Gone. And now China's in place. And look which contractor that comes from. Like I said, I wish I could tell you all. I can't because I have a family member that is tied to that company and I can't say it. But it's true. Somebody else has to say it. Bye now.